Welcome to the SolarEdge Learning Lab. This video will guide you through the best practices for installing a SolarEdge 3-phase inverter with Synergy technology in a horizontal position. This video was recorded in a closed training environment. Refer to the manual and adhere to your company's safety practices while in the field. Before we get started, let's briefly go over the different parts of the installation. First, ensure that the inverter's primary and secondary units are properly spaced. The units must be spaced 1.2 inches apart. We're using the Bentech Power Rack because it's a convenient way to mount the Synergy inverters in a near horizontal position. The holes on the upper support are pre-drilled at the correct distances to quickly and easily mount the 3 Synergy units. Second, when installing in a near horizontal position, the 9 to 12 inches of conduit entering the connection unit should be rigid. Use the appropriate watertight connectors to connect the EMT to the knockouts in the connection unit and connect the rigid conduit to the flexible conduit leading away from the Synergy inverter. Third, it's important to brace the conduit that's installed in the connection unit in order to ensure that the weight of the conduit does not create unnecessary flex or pressure on the connection unit itself. For this installation, we're using unistrut and strap connectors for the brace. The knockout drill guides for DC wires are 1 1/4 inches. The knockout for AC wires is 2 1/4 inches. Each of these can be upsized a small amount. The 1 1/4 DC knockout can be upsized to accommodate an 1.5 inch conduit. The 2 1/4 AC knockout can be upsized to accommodate 2.5 inch conduit. Use unibit or a hole saw to ensure that a clean, sealable hole is created. Do not increase the knockout size more than is allowed. Doing so will compromise the integrity of the unit, which will void your warranty. Let's start the installation process. Start with connecting communication wires, as it will be difficult to access the communications terminal block after the AC wires have been landed. We've hardwired this inverter to the internet, and if you have follower inverters, now is the time to wire your 600 volt shielded RS485 wire in the RS485 in and or out terminals, located in the bottom left-hand corner of the connection unit. The RS485 in is for the previous connected device, like a commercial gateway or another inverter, and the out is for the next device in the RS485 bus. Before we move to the connection and landing of the AC conduit and wires, it's important to note that the use of 600 volt barrel-type compression lugs as well as applying heat shrink around the barrel lugs is required. The lugs must be a maximum tongue width of 0.9 inches and a thickness of 0.16 inches, as well as have a bolt hole size of 5/16 of an inch. We recommend using Burndy lugs as they meet all the necessary requirements. This Burndy lug is tin-plated copper and not compatible with aluminum wire. Now it's time to connect and secure the AC conduit and wires. We recommend pulling the AC wires through the conduit prior to attaching the conduit to the connection unit. This will be easier than pulling the wires into the connection unit after the conduit is attached. After the conduit has been secured to the connection unit, secure it to the brace, using conduit straps to ensure that there will be no movement causing unnecessary flex on the connection unit. The rigid conduit section must be at a 90-degree angle to the bottom of the connection unit and must be supported at that angle. Adjust the supporting structure to maintain the 90-degree angle. After securing the conduit, land your AC wires. Start with the ground wires. The terminal block will be inaccessible after the AC wires are landed. Also ensure that it is tightened within a torque spec of 15 Newton meters or 12 foot-pounds. Now it's time to land our AC wires in the terminal blocks. And as you can see, our 2-aught wires with the Burndy lugs fit perfectly in the AC terminal blocks. Once the wires are secured to the terminal blocks, using the bolts that come with the terminal blocks, tighten them to 8 to 14 Newton meters or 71 to 124 inch-pounds. As with the AC conduit and wires, pull the DC wires through the conduit prior to attaching the conduit to the connection unit. This will be easier than pulling the wires into the connection unit after the conduit is attached. Then feed the conduit through the knockout, secure it with a locking ring, and secure the conduit by strapping it to the brace. The last step is landing your DC wires. Trim and attach the DC wires one tier at a time, starting with the bottom tier and then moving to the top. Now that all your wiring is secure and the AC terminal cover is on, it's time to secure the cover for the connection unit. Make sure that the cover is tightly in place and that the bolts are torqued properly to prevent water intrusion. You're all set! Following these best practices will simplify the installation process and help achieve long-lasting results. Thanks to Bentech and Burndy for their assistance in making this video. Thank you for joining us in the SolarEdge Learning Lab.